So the camera.
Huh?
What you
Our primaries was scheduled to hold on Monday this week, and the events leading to that primaries and thereafter is the reason why we're here with you today to register a strong denouncement of what happened in Cross River State. First of all, I'd like to go straight to the specifics. I wouldn't want to take too much of your time. Beginning on the day that the day before the election was to hold, the national vice chairman south of the party came back to the state, called a meeting of stakeholders. Mr. Hilareta called a meeting of stakeholders. Specifically, he called a meeting of the state executive committee members to his house. He called them to his house, and in that meeting he told them that the presidency and indeed the leadership of the party had anointed one of us as to be returned. And when we found out about that meeting, we were very disturbed. And on the day of the stakeholders meeting, the pressmen who were there, they actually put it to the national vice chairman south. They asked him a question: is it actually true that you're supporting a particular candidate? And he made it quite clear to them that yes, indeed, he had the right as one of the conspirators towards the political process, and he had the right to align and choose one particular aspirant over others. And we thought there was something very, very fundamentally wrong with that, when a leader of a party would take sides in the middle of a contest. Well, we're not as worried about that as the events that followed. A stakeholders meeting was called. An arrangement was made for every aspirant to go and and look at the materials that were brought when the committee members arrived at the state. Shortly after the inspection of the materials and the agreement that those materials were going to be moved that night to the various senatorial zones and the various local governments, and that the materials were going to be kept for safekeeping in the police stations in the various areas. That was the agreement that was reached. But shortly after, different people came and collected materials for different local governments. Incidentally, these people were mostly representatives of one aspirant, Senator John Waneno. Most of the people that came to pick those materials that night were his representatives. Apart from the materials for Calabar area that were escorted to the police station and kept there for safekeeping till the next day, most of their materials were taken and away to unknown areas. In Northern Cross River, where I was monitoring there, waiting to vote, the materials never came there. We never got any materials in the whole of Northern Cross River. Northern Cross River has 5 local governments and contains 53 wards. In all of these wards, there was no single election on that day. So, when we complained about this incident, and I went back to Calabar, we called the press conference where this problem was tabled. Later that night, they took ballot papers to the home of one of the key supporters of Senator John Waneno in Obudu, Honorable Paul Ada, where they kept those materials and brought people out to thumb print. So what I'm saying in essence is that in 5 local governments, without any contradiction, I'm stating here that no elections held in 5 local governments of Northern Cross River. In other parts of the state, in Central Cross River, in large parts of the state, in Central Cross River and in the south, the materials were just carted away. They were just carted away and results fabricated. In the few polling units, the few wards where the semblance of an election was going on, very, very few numbers of ballot papers were allotted to those wards where they felt that some of us had strengths. And these are in a very small fraction of the wards in the state where elections actually held. So what we're saying is that the whole process was a fabrication, it was a hijack, and we are calling that the right thing should be done. In a party like the All Progressives Congress, 3 of us standing here, before now we're opponents in the race, but now we're standing together to fight a joint evil. We had this problem earlier in the year where certain people tried to hijacked the state congress, and then we had this issue of 2 state schools and all of that. So we have again found ourselves in a similar situation where one person would want to take over the whole party in the state. The APC in Cross River State is now such a big political group that no one person would want to take and put in his pockets. I am from Northern Cross River. My brothers standing by my side here are from south of Cross River. The other person involved is from the center of Cross River. So this represents 2 out of 3 senatorial districts standing before you. So the majority of Cross River is standing before you. One person cannot hijack what is meant for all of us. This is the reason why we are here, to say that the collusion that has happened between the National Vice Chairman, South, and Senator John Waneno in these gubernatorial elections, that is threatening to derail the possibilities of the APC performing well in the governorship elections of next year and the presidential elections of next year, is a really, really existential threat to the party in Cross River State. And we're here today to register our protest, even before we begin to write letters or write a protest, write a petition to the appeals committee and to the party. We need the world to know what is going on in Cross River State. Outside our own group, there is also a parallel group that purports that the Minister of Niger Delta is a candidate of the party. So all this confusion that we are getting out of Cross River from one senatorial zone, like I've said, we have 3 senatorial zones in Cross River. Those of us standing here are from 2 senatorial zones. The 2 other people who are laying claim to the candidacy of the party are from another senatorial zone. So what we are saying in essence is that we want the right thing to be done in Cross River State. We want to have peace in Cross River State. We are tired of the same people, having all these issues that we've been facing in Cross River. We want a resolution that is sustainable, and we want justice.